Well, I know that you had a 30-minute Zoom with Mike after you were cast, getting ready to
Yeah.
start filming, and he described the character Victoria as sort of a younger version of Big Edie from Grey Gardens. Yeah, and I'm
Yes.
wondering, how did you pitch your concept for the character to him during that Zoom?
When I get a role and I start reading it, like the osmosis process starts. It's just like a gleaning process, right?
Yeah.
And I I I was so thankful for that tidbit of Big Edie, a younger Big Edie from Grey Gardens, because it put her in a particular niche of characters, of eccentric characters who have money, but also an artistic sensibility and a bohemian spirit,
Yeah.
right? And but Victoria isn't in that world of her family. So I kind of gravitated towards like the woman who like she has a line about the country club and they really get me, you know, the people at the club. And but she's kind of under this grip of, you know, achievements and, you know, money and what people should do and how they should live. Like I looked at her as someone who was kind of programmed in this kind of male dominated like role. But underneath it all, there was someone like lost and, you know, waiting to come out. That's why I like her dream so much, is that you get a dream and if the character has a dream, then that gives like such another dimension to her and what's going on with her. Yeah, Mike and a lot of directors are like this. You think it's like actors going to talk about the characters and, you know, you have all these long conversations, but a lot of the times they're like, no, you're cast, go figure it out on your own, and you know, we'll see what comes up. And so you're, you know, it's a bit of a detective work between you and your castmates and all the different things that help the character come to life and take shape. I had, you know, I'm from the South, so I had like the part was more in the accent category of how to choose what Southern accent, and I couldn't wait to get my hands on it because I grew up around it, and I love how funny it sounds. I love how like there seems to be an emphasis on feeling, you know, but not actually what you're saying. Um, and so it was. I mean, I
Yeah.
come from a funny family, so I, it's for them too. You know, it's like I act for my friends and my family that for them to laugh, and it's just been great that I got those funny lines.
I mean, I think I read that you said that if Victoria hadn't been funny, she could have come across as really terrible. And so
Yeah.
when you're reading the scripts, is that sort of what you thought was my biggest challenge, is to make her likable?
No, you're exactly right. Yeah, you're exactly right. You know, the White Lotus is already like a brand. So we know what kind of characters we're dealing with. We're dealing with the 1% and then the you know, the hospitality industry in these hotels. So what kind of, I mean, everyone loves a snob, right? And when you look at, you know, characters in movies and TV shows, like the person who's just obnoxious and um yeah, so having a snotty way of talking was really, you know, it's really juicy. So I was happy to be able to deliver that. And I mean I was, you know, I hope it's okay. You know, I wasn't always confident in the beginning, especially. But you know, these types of shows, like I love the like Evil Under the Sun and Murder on the Orient Express, and these characters that are almost drawn. You know, they're kind of animated, and you can see like. I remember being a little kid and watching these movies and looking forward to being a grown up and acting this way. You know, it's like Maggie Smith and Peter Ustinov, and you know they had this style and this way of being that was, you knew they were acting and having fun, and they were, as they were playing these people, you know, but they were very drawn. It was very archetypal. And so that was fun to enter into that story world of, you know, who done it, you know, and just playing someone who you don't really know what she's capable of doing. Do you trust her? Is she trustworthy? Is she, you know, is she high on the razapam? Is she, you know, what is, you know, what's going on? So all that stuff was such good fun.
There's an arc with her where obviously she starts off on lorazepam, like when you arrive or when Victoria arrives. I love how childlike she is whenever Pam suggests they take the tests, you know, when she's all nervous about the test. And then cut to like when she's off lorazepam, like she's the one who leads the charge to get Piper to stay in Thailand, and the plotting of like just spend the night there. Like, what was it like for you to play that change, and how did you approach her? Like when she's off lorazepam, she does kind of become very formidable, which is fun.
It was so fun to just play a full-on woman, you know, when she's in a bad way and she needs to take to bed, she's going to take to bed. And Timothy's the whole family is going to abide by that and take care of mom and worry about mom and hope she's okay. And then like on a dime, she can like, you know, drink a cup of coffee and get the show on the road and, you know, do some detective work, you know, like that kind of drama, you know, she's a drama queen.
And can you tell me about filming the scene in the finale whenever Piper's revealing to Timothy and Victoria that she is staying? And it's so fun to watch you as Victoria figure out what Piper's really saying, that it's leading to her saying, I can't go. And you're like escalating the response to the point with the hug and like the thumbs up. Was like the thumbs up scripted, or was that something that just kind of came to you in the moment?
No, that was totally scripted. And that was such a powerful day, and it's such a beautiful day of work for Sarah Catherine. You know, we shot a lot in a condensed amount of time, and we shot that, I think, within the first or second week. So I didn't know really what the path of Piper was, you know, and so she really is letting her parents down, right? And she's like stuck in this, and she's letting herself down, and it's so tragic in that scene, so much about not being able to escape your family and to accept the limits of what you are capable of doing. And so she's saying, like, really what she's saying is, I'll never be able to leave you, you know. And it's that powerful mother that has got, and father that have their child like going like, I got to come back to you, you know. I just thought it's just such great writing and such a great arc. But that was all Mike White. Like she hugs and she's like, got her, you know.
It's like Jason was talking to me about seeing, I guess whenever you all watched it, the finale at the screening, and he was surprised to see how people were laughing at that, because here's Tim, you know, realizing he's going to have to try to kill his daughter as well, which, so he's got that, you know, realization while you're like, yay, which obviously that's what people are really laughing at. But he was saying he wishes he could have like watched every episode with the crowd to see how people react to those, you know, little moments like that. I guess, what was that experience like for you? And what, is there any particular scene that you love to hear people react to?
You know, I haven't seen it. I haven't watched the show yet. And I wasn't there for the finale because I was working. But I'm going to talk after you. I'm going to talk to someone that Mike has picked out the pina colada scene. It's like how it was shot or how it was filmed. And so I talked to John Valario last night, our editor, because I'm going out with his wife Shin today for lunch. I said, hey, can you remind me of the scene? Because all I remember was at like 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, and we improvised a lot of different bits, right? And it's like, I think I was talking to Patrick about the hummingbird cake that grandmother made, and that we were talking about desserts. He's like, that's not in it. You know what I mean? Like you're building all these little moments
Right.
that he said in the editing of that. What was fun is that the stuff that was added, just the energy of the scene. And Mike would throw out like, what about wine, Tim? And
Yeah.
and so he threw out that funny line. And to be able to work with an ensemble and to be able to build moments that, along with the director who's written the story and knows it so well, and it's like coming to life, all these characters coming to life right in front of his eyes, is like, it's such a remarkable thing to accomplish in a country like Thailand. I mean, this was the feat, right? This was like, and really athletic and just, I don't know how everyone did it.
Oh, we were just talking about Mike sort of throwing ideas out. That's something I've talked with other actors from the season who they all love working with him like that. It made me wonder if in episode 2, whenever Victoria finds out that Jacqueline is a famous actress, you say actresses are all basically prostitutes if they're lucky. Was that something scripted, or was that something, because the other reactions seem so genuine, the laughter from your co-stars?
If they're lucky was thrown in, yeah. And that was my first day of work. Yeah, that was thrown in. And Mike is so funny because you can just hear him cat playing. Has anyone done his cat pull for you?
Patrick has.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah. There's another, like, in one of the scenes that I thought maybe might also have been enhanced by you was the house party in episode 7. Whenever you're talking, or Victoria's talking to the younger woman and she's trying to tell her to come to North Carolina, you say, are you scared of him? I could get you out of this. Like, that felt like something that might have just been slipped in. Do you recall anything special about that scene? Because that was very
fun. There was a really lovely person, Priya, who is Thai, and she was the woman that I was talking to, and we just connected on set, and I adored her. And I told Mike, I was like, I really like Priya and Rob, both of them. I really enjoyed. I said, let's like, can we? I love Priya. Can we have like a scene with her? Maybe there's And he thought about it, and then he was like, I know what I want to do. I'm going to bring her into the party, to the scenes that you're talking about. But that was all Mike. But you know what? In the beginning, that was improvised on the yacht of like, just talk about North Carolina and how, So that was, you're right about that. That was, it was so fun. It was so fun. And they were so great.
Did I read that you and Natasha took the butlers out to dinner? Is that right?
God, that was such a perfect night. Yes, we our butlers at the Four Seasons, Kun Orn, Hui, Kun Siwa. We bonded with them. We thought they were just such cool women, and when they knew that I was like to just hang out, no one had to we were staying there we were there for like 2 months. I felt like I got to know them a little bit, and to know just the kind of people that they are. And I just love them, Kun Parker, you don't need a man if they don't enhance your life. And if they don't enhance your life, why? They were like giving advice. And it was so it's a very graceful, one of my favorite nights was going to set watching Kunlek and Lisa perform. And I watched Lisa dance, and it was so beautiful. And the way that they just move, and that beauty, that thing, their culture. I cried when I left Four Seasons, and I know how ridiculous that sounds, but I cried looking out over Diane and waving goodbye to them. And we were like, we'll be back in 6 months and 5 months, and we came back. We took them out to dinner, and they were all obsessed with Lisa, right?
Right.
And I tried to get at least Kuhn to a scene in whatever the background. I'm like, all she has to do is you can go to wardrobe and just have her in the background with Lisa, like it would just make her day, you know? I'd be like,
Yeah.
because she's very like Lisa's everything, right? And so they're like, they're not allowed to do that in their line of work. You know, they would never be able to go back to work. So, okay. But we went back and Natasha and I had and Michelle, we took them all out for dinner. And it just so happened that Lisa worked that day. And I called her assistant. I said, is there any way Lisa can stop by? And she said, well, it just so happens that something's up with Lisa's leg and she's down, you know, she's like a 5-minute drive. She's getting a massage and she can stop by on the way. And so we took these pictures of Lisa and the butlers, and they were just like, it was just like those moments, right? Like that, just making it. They were so happy.
And Jason told me that he now has people sending him pina coladas anytime he's out or whenever he does, talk shows. Or
I was on Easter Island. I was shooting a movie with Sam Rockwell and John Malkovich on Easter Island. You know, it's the furthest place you can go in the furthest part of the world. It's like 17-mile island. The only people there are tourists, and it's just like this hotel we were all staying in. And this woman walks by. There was a homemade mimosa bar, and so it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. And she walks by, and she says, "I have some lorazepam if you need some." I just like walked away.
That would be now for the rest of your life.
I have some lorazepam, and then I went on a Delta flight, and the flight attendant asked what I wanted to drink, and I said, I'll have a seltzer with some ice. And he says, I just want to make sure you're living a comfortable life.
Oh,
like, thank you. I'm very comfortable.
I know our time is almost up here, so I did just want to touch on that scene because I know that was a scene everyone was talking about. Did you know filming that, like, oh, this is going to be something people are going to be quoting and really hanging on to? Because again, it kind of that's I guess sort of what starts the
that's like the crux. That's like that moment when she says, I don't want to live a comfortable life. I don't have the will. It's like, that's kind of when it's all like, you don't really know what's going to happen to Victoria. And this like really being at the end of her rope in only wanting like, and what she's been through, those little lines that you get to bring like the history of the person with that, I had the essential oils and the lotions, and you just see how like spoiled she is, but also, she's broken. She's kind of a mess. And then on the other side, she gets it together and she's able to like Sherlock Holmes his stuff and get her daughter back. So I love that, Mike White, how he writes women. We're talking about a writer who writes great women, and they're alone. They stand alone in a man's world. And, I feel so lucky I got to play it.